Kaufman, Captain, U.S. Navy, retired early in 1943 and went to submarine school. I won't go through all the details, but I came out of submarine school in the summer of 43 and was ordered to a submarine, which is then in the Navy Yard at Mare Island in California, and went aboard as the third officer, pretty senior for the whole thing. But as I said, the Navy grew very rapidly. I think 2 ensigns out of my sub-school class and me went to the submarine Gato SS-212. We finished up the Navy Yard overhaul, went to sea, and mostly, well, in the Western Pacific and the Southwestern Pacific. As I said, I was the third officer. I made 3 war patrols as a torpedo and gunnery officer, and the last 2 aboard as the executive officer of Gato. During that time, a number of things happened. We engaged in quite a few torpedo attacks on Japanese convoys over that period. At one day, doing a patrol in the South China Sea, I was the off the deck and was looking around very much to detect any particularly aircraft. Oh, I might add that when I first joined Gato, the habit of submarine operations in the Western Pacific was to submerge at dawn, stay down all day, and come up in the evening. As time went on, we learned that we could spot aircraft in time to get them before they got in on us. And then we started staying on the surface all day and all night. Dive if we saw any enemy activity, aircraft or surface ships. But ordinarily we were on the surface. On one of those days, I was off the deck. I spotted something off in the distance, called the captain, turned the ship toward it, and we picked up a Japanese soldier who had been floating around on a raft for several weeks. We got him aboard. He was in pretty bad physical shape. He went out into that hot sun with no cover, and between the salt water and the sun he had several rather bad sores. We took him aboard. Our medic got him back to pretty good health. He was quartered in the after torpedo room of the submarine and had it all shined up in a couple of weeks as well as anybody could have done. When it was time for him to eat, he was sent forward, and each compartment was informed that he was coming forward, and he would have his meals and then return to the after torpedo room. After he had been aboard 2 or 3 weeks, we got in on a convoy one day, and I don't remember how well we did, but we fired a number of torpedoes at the convoy and received an extremely heavy counterattack. Don't remember how many depth charges were dropped, but a lot of them very close. As the day wore on, we worked our way away from the Japanese, and at evening twilight we surfaced. Again, for some reason, I was the off the deck. The captain was still on the bridge after we surfaced, and a couple of lookouts and me. One of the ship's officers came to the conning tower hatch and requested permission to come up on the bridge. We brought him up, and he said the people in one of the compartments below was complaining about something was loose on deck and making a noise. He requested permission to get down and check it out. He was back up on the bridge in less than a minute. He said, "Captain, there's a depth charge down there." And the skipper said, "Yeah, I know, we took some pretty close." And Ray Swanback said, no, it's still there. And we had a live Japanese depth charge rolling around on the deck of Gato. We got more people topside, including the Japanese soldier. We gave the Japanese soldier a pen and a piece of paper, held a flashlight, and indicated him to copy off the inscription on the depth charge so we could take it back for the intelligence people. Then the ship's executive officer copied, as best he could, this Japanese inscription so that we could take it back. The torpedo, at that time, we had a wire cable lifeline that ran from the conning tower fairwater clear back to the stern of the ship. That depth charge, when it hit the midships, fore and aft midships compartment, and broke that lifeline, so it was pretty well aimed. Why it didn't go off, we never knew. We had a rubber boat aboard, got it up topside, and people carefully rolled the depth charge into the rubber boat, inflated it. We trimmed the submarine down to the main deck awash, pushed this rubber boat over the side, and left it there for the Japanese to run into. I was detached from Gato in about November or December of 1943 in Pearl Harbor. I thought that I was probably going to a new construction submarine as the executive officer. However, after sometime into 44, probably February, the force personnel officer, who was a fellow named Red Ramage, and Red Ramage was the wearer of a Congressional Medal of Honor for his pursuits as a skipper of a wartime submarine. Red sent for me in the summer of 43. Admiral Nimitz, the commander-in-chief of the Pacific area, and his operational staff moved to Guam. The submarine force commander also followed him, and a number of the other major operational commanders in the Pacific also went to Guam. Red Ramage's question to me was, how would you like to go to Guam and be Admiral Lockwood's flag lieutenant? And I said, I don't think I'm cut out to be a flag lieutenant. And he said, go see the chief of staff. I went over there, got the same question, gave the same answer, and he said, go pack. So I went to Guam and became the submarine forces aide and flag lieutenant to Vice Admiral Charles Lockwood, and served in that capacity until Admiral Lockwood left after the end of the war. It was an interesting operation. I was able to be in the operations room where the then maybe three ex-wartime submarine skippers were the operation deciders doing that part of the war. Admiral Lockwood, of course, approved everything that they proposed. They proposed a lot of things. He proposed what went out to the fleet. And I was there when a lot of those decisions were made. When I became the aide and flag lieutenant of the Commander Submarine Force in 1945, one of the reasons I think I was picked for that job was in that 2.5 year period aboard a heavy ship where I learned about how you handle the quarterdeck in port on a big ship and how you handle it, the bridge at sea in formation in high-speed military formation.